I want to talk about AEW Double or Nothing because the next time we come to you, I believe, will be post Double or Nothing. So let's break down the card as it stands as of this recording. And
you're down to watch it, Jimbo, live?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Maintaining
cool.
all social distancing, of course, but yes. So I actually think that the card has shaped up really nicely. I mean, you've got the Stadium Stampede match with Matt Hardy and the Elite taking on the Inner Circle. By the way, one note on the Inner Circle. Les Sex Gods, I think, is a better name for the Inner Circle than the Inner Circle. I just feel like they should all be Les Sex Gods because that's just a terrific name. I'm excited for that. I don't know what that will be. We have Private Party versus Best Friends for the number one contendership to the Tag Team Championships. Britt Baker and Chris Statlander. And a note on that, I thought the women's match from this episode of Dynamite was the best women's match in AEW history. I really enjoyed that match quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I really think that, they're going to position Statlander eventually as a challenger to Nyla Rose. Speak of the devil, Nyla Rose is defending her championship against Hikaru Shida, who in my estimation should have been the first AEW Women's World Champion instead of Riho, but be that as it may. The Casino ladder match for a future AEW World Championship shot, that's going to be going down. Jon Moxley defending his championship against Brody Lee. MJF taking on Jungle Boy, and finally Cody taking on Lance Archer for the inaugural AEW TNT champion to be crowned, with Mike Tyson being there to present it, as we talked about earlier. That's a solid card, man. That's a good show. It's a shame that there won't be a crowd for it, but that's a damn fine pay-per-view they got going there.
Real quick, before I forget, I know we've been saying AEW's been doing a better job of the quote, no crowd arena shows.
Yes.
And they have like the good guys on one side and the heels on the other side, and they're making a lot of noise. Do you think there might be more people somewhere outside? Because the place that they film at currently, it's next to Jacksonville Jaguars football stadium. So I don't know about you. I have no confirmation, but it sounds like a lot of commotion going on. So I wonder, do you think there might be fans outside knowing that they're filming, just making noise for the sake of it? Like, this is me just guessing, but it sounds like a lot of noise for like maybe 15, 20 wrestlers ringside. Like, I wonder if there's more noise being created elsewhere.
I don't think that necessarily, but whatever they're doing, it's working. Their empty arena shows, just the presentation and stuff overall has just been very good, and I think overall the best since they've had, wrestling's had to go crowdless.
More energy.
NXT has been good too, but like you said, I think the energy and the vibe in the building is just better with how they set it up. I think overall they've done a really good job with their shows. But Double or Nothing, I think has shaped up to be. I wish there could be a crowd there, because I think it would be a hot crowd for this card. I love I'm excited for the inaugural TNT champion to be crowned. With Cody and Lance Archer, which that's been building so strongly. And while we're talking about that, Jake Roberts, was the subject of sort of, I guess, some faux internet controversy. People were offended by what he did to Brandy Rhodes, and I just didn't see it. Like, I just saw a bunch of people online asking the question, were you offended by this? Or should Jake apologize or whatever? And I didn't get it. I understand, like, he's a bad guy, and these are morality plays. And it just sort of, to me, spoke to some sort. And then you have people like complaining about how he literally was carrying the snake, and that PETA should be on his ass and stuff like that. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm in the minority on this, and maybe I'm wrong. I didn't have any issue with the Brandy thing, other than I think just it just doesn't seem like Jake's really got the moves anymore, if you know what I mean. But other than that, I wasn't offended by it.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we don't know, but who knows? Maybe it was Brandy's idea to begin with. She couldn't give it. She might have was maybe the one to give the okay on this. Who knows? Like, it's wrestling. It's like the powers that be behind the scenes who plan out the segment. who we don't know for sure, right? One way or the other. It could have been Brandy be like, hey, like really, lay into me.
I wonder how much of the crossover, Baby Huey, of the people clamoring for the days of the Attitude. There's so many people that are like, oh, I wish it was still like the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Though I don't know if it can't be the same people that are getting offended by this stuff, because if you get offended by that, you would not last one episode of Monday Night Raw in the Attitude Era. Like, are you kidding me?
I mean, some of the videos you and I, send each other and like stuff from the Attitude Era, they would not fly today.
Yeah, and some of it for very good reason, but it was a different time.
Yes.
But I just didn't see the outrage here with Jake and Brandy. And like you said, Brandy clearly she did it. She was okay with it. If she was not comfortable with it, she's married to a guy that could easily nix it. She could nix it herself probably. So I just didn't see the need to. I feel like a lot of times people, and this is not just with wrestling, the wrestling community, people in all walks of life right now go looking for a reason to be outraged and offended. And I hate seeing it creep into pro wrestling, because look, we're telling a morality play here. Like this is good versus evil. Jake's a bad guy right now, and he did a bad thing, but I didn't think it was over the line or anything like that. Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say, and then on this week's episode of Dynamite, you saw Cody Rhodes furious and trying to go out there and defend his wife's honor.
Yeah. By the way, can we?
Yeah, like 10 feet of the car.
My God, exactly. Like what? I was so excited for what he might do with that thing, and then it was just like. just knocked over a couple trash cans and a sign, and it was again 10 feet. Like, what was the point of it? Like, how did they not think that through better?
Like maybe he didn't want to damage his new truck.
I mean, it was a cool visual. But then you don't like. You just don't do it then. Yeah, that was a rare miss. And again, the heart was in the right place there, but the execution was poor.
Well, maybe they saw Becky Lynch's truck. They're like, we gotta get a truck too. Like,
I like both of them. I like the Bex Express and I like the Cody Mobile, but I didn't like the usage or the execution of it. But yeah, Cody was pissed, and this is the story that they're telling.
So. Yeah, and that's the thing. This is all storytelling. Like, okay, what happened? That scene played out in a movie. Like we've seen plenty of movies, revenge type movies, in recent years where someone goes to defend their families. There's like a tragedy or something bad happened to their family, and then they go defend their honor. But that's done in a movie. No one complains about it. Maybe, the violence or whatever, but storytelling. And this segment was part of storytelling. Like all parties agreed to do it, be a part of it. And so it's just storytelling to set up a match. Like, I think people are taking it a little too seriously. And then you're right. It's like people say, oh, I want the Attitude Era again. I want things a little bit more risky. Well, if they do stuff, they try to bring it back, they can't. People are going to complain about it. You can never win in today's world, today's social media world.
Yeah.
Anything, you could try to do one thing that's a little bit outside the box and you're going to get criticized from someone. But then if you stay too conservative or kind of like maybe go through the motions, do the same safe thing over and over, then you get criticized for that.
Yeah, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Yeah. But I'm excited for that tournament finale with Cody and Lance Archer and the gyrating Jake Roberts, as it were. How about the Stadium Stampede match? Matt Hardy and the Elite taking on the Inner Circle, as we mentioned. You alluded to at the start of this episode that Chris Jericho took a baseball bat to Vanguard 1 on this episode of Dynamite, much to the sadness of all drones out there and Matt Hardy and everything like that. I'm excited for this, though, because, we didn't get to talk about it because we were talking about Money in the Bank, but that brawl that Les Sex Gods had with Kenny and and Matt was really good. Was a lot of fun to watch, and so this is gonna be that turned up even another notch. So I'm excited for this.
I'm excited because it's an empty arena, so they're gonna take advantage of the whole environment that they're wrestling in. And as we saw that last week's episode with the Kenny Omega, Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara and stuff. As we saw after they won, they walked out into the arena or the football field where the Jaguars play, and the Inner Circle logo was on the big screen. So I assume that's where the match will carry over in there. So you have an empty arena, you might as well use the full space around you to your advantage. So I think it's a smart move. It's like, okay, how can we use our setting with no crowd here? Well, let's use this setting as part of the whole landscape to have the match take place in. So I think it's a smart thing to do. It's like, okay, well, we have no crowd to actually worry to perform in front of. Let's go over here behind the setup that we have and go on the football field. And I'm sure they'll probably use maybe a goalpost and I don't know, maybe like a bench or so. I mean, you know what I mean? They hold the whole arena, the stadium to their disposal. So it's going to be pretty exciting, especially with 10 guys involved, 5-on-5.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and they got really creative previously. So I'm looking forward to see how much other creative things that they're going to do in that match. So, I mean, between that and then with Moxley taking on Brody Lee for the championship, that's been an interesting build-up as well. So, along with the casino ladder match, and then you've got another built-out, the undercard that we went over, I think Double or Nothing has shaped up to be a fun watch. So we will certainly talk about that. Probably our next episode will be reacting to Double or Nothing, and that will be the major crux of next week's episode.